So yeah, let's talk numbers. So,
All right.
as many of you may know, if you're have watched the bulletin over the past year, we'll start at the top with the Offertory. That's one of the biggest pieces of the financial picture. It is
part of the mission
is the giving.
Yes, absolutely.
That's how we do most of what we do.
We do.
And we ran a deficit. Let's be honest. We had to deal with a scandal. It was less than 2 years ago that we got hit with some challenging news and a lot of turmoil in the parish. I think you've done a great job kind of coming in and reminding us of what the core mission that we have as Catholics is. We're here.
And we have to get used to new faces. I mean, ministry is relational. I know that is tough. Anytime you have a new face, new staff member changes, all those things, and then again, the world changing around us, of course that's going to cause all sorts of anxieties. It is something we have to sort of work through and realize that, sometimes the faces change, but what stays, this is the community. This is your church. This is your mission. This is your community. And it's wonderful to see people own that. And I think that has been wonderful.
And I can attest to that because I was a parishioner in 2007 when it was just St. John's, and then it became St. John's and St. Thomas. And, saw it, and change is always hard. It always is. It is. But the beautiful thing is I've always believed in the power of this community. Like I attested to in my fireside chat, if not for this community, I wouldn't be Catholic to this day. And so I think when we really reflect on what the East Lansing Catholic community is, what it's done for us, it deserves our support.
Oh,
right?
No, absolutely. Well, it's the mission of Jesus Christ, right? Absolutely. And it's always bigger than the individuals. There's something there. And our world needs to know the Prince of Peace, right? If we look at one thing in our world, it's unrest. It needs the gospel. It needs announcement. And we're grateful for all the staff members and the clergy who make that possible. Now we're just trying to make sure that we don't lose the talent we have, the teachers and the campus ministers. With the church, a lot of your expenses are fixed.
Yeah.
It's not like we're a huge variable income.
You got the building, you got to pay for the building, and you got the staff.
It is. There's very
all
little
of which are
variability.
essential.
All those things are, exactly.
Yeah.
And we want to show them the love. They've made the commitment of their families. And a lot of times they are working for less than the public sector, as you know. Right? Okay, absolutely. I was an engineer before this. The numbers are not the same. I can tell you that. Those are part of the sacrifices because you do it because there's love behind this and you know how much the world needs it and is hungering for something which is transcendent and lasting in a world which is finite and wounded and broken and disappointing. And so praise God for that. So
it's funny, I do remember when I decided to take this position, all of the incredulity I got, because it's really hard, for those of you who don't know insurance sales, it's really hard to survive on insurance sales. I was doing more than surviving, and all of my peers, and everyone was like, why would you do that?
Why would you?
You're not, the Christians that I worked with, they're like, that makes sense, you've been talking about this for a long time, and all of the others said, you're strange.
This is not how we do it.
But it's great. Let's the Offertory.
Let's get the numbers.
The reality of the Offertory is, we've had a slowly declining Offertory, which does actually line up fairly well with the less mass counts we've had in our October mass counts, which have been declining, not precipitously. We haven't seen, except for, again, a couple of years ago when everything hit, we did see a bit of a drop off then. But the reality is when you look at giving trends, people who are giving, I think what it looks like to the numbers, we probably have lost more people who weren't giving from all of that than who were. We definitely lost a number of givers as well. And that's just the reality of the situation. The good news is that we have an opportunity, and we've continued to build with those who are continuing to see the importance of our mission. And we've seen, per person giving has been generally increasing over time.
And you've changed even the mechanisms for doing that, and especially in an online world for our younger givers, and you think about our students and those who are Generation Z, that's a generation that is not into checkbooks or carrying a lot of cash on them. So the way to let them have skin in the game.
And it's great. And our younger parishioners, particularly our students, I have been shocked since we rolled out text to give and our online giving options. Our students are some of our most consistent givers.
Isn't that beautiful?
And I want everyone to know, even $1 a week still makes all the difference. When you look at our budget, we do have some larger givers, but the cool thing is, about somewhere between 60 and 70% of our community gives. Sorry, somewhere around 60 to 70% of our gifts are less than $5,000 a year. So the smaller givers make up the lion's share of our giving, and that's huge. Every dollar counts, and it's really, I would much rather see, I've said it from the beginning, I love seeing $1 a week from people who are making that sacrificial gift than I would, a $10,000 gift once every 10 years. Just because to me it shows that person is really engaged with the culture and the spirit of generosity and stewardship that we're all called to engage in, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so it's not always about the numbers. Whatever is a sacrifice for you is what it is. So don't feel like if being a sacrifice is I only can give a couple of dollars a week. Don't discount that. In fact, we very much need you, just because if maybe our mass count in this time of pandemic is a quarter to a third of our normal mass count, a lot of what it might just be a couple dollars in the offertory, that a lot of that's just dried up plain. We're not passing offertory baskets like we would, and we maybe only have a quarter to a third of the people coming through here every week that we might normally do that. So even those smaller gifts, if it's mailed in once a month or it's an online gift, all of that makes a world of difference. Never be discouraged from that. We really need you. And again, even if you're just joining us via online, your generosity is helping to keep the doors open.
And speaking of that, I do want to thank and invite everyone to continue to pray, because I've talked to a number of families who have had to reduce their offertory because these are hard financial times. The reality of the situation is it's harder more than ever. And I reassure everyone, for those who we have so many generous people who are stepping up to continue to help our mission. Thank you to everyone who is financially stable and able to help us weather this storm. I will not forget March. I'm jumping a little ahead on our agenda, but March was one of the most stressful months of my life, because basically our offertory dried up. Yeah. Because it took a while for people to figure out how to give.
We closed our doors.
And we closed our doors. Like, everything was in chaos.
Yeah.
But, in April and May, and especially when we hit that Easter season, I saw people coming back and recognizing how important this mission was and continuing to give to it. I've known ever since then, I've had peace, knowing that the Lord, through all of you, is going to continue to provide for this community. So thank you. And for those, again, who are financially strapped, we understand and we're praying for you. And we're always there in whatever way we can be to help support you as well.
And for those with greater means, thank you for stepping up your generosity. Amen. And for those, I think we practically doubled our online.
Oh my gosh, we've tripled. We had 200 online givers before April. Right around January, we had about 200. And then we rolled out the new online giving, and that's where I have the numbers from. We're over 600 people giving online.
It means a world of difference to have an income that you can expect and budget too. Nobody wants to get to the end of the year and then have to lay off people just because we know that we haven't hit the budget. Thank you. Thank you for making that happen.
So that's where we're at offertory wise. We did budget for this year because, again, we understand most people are hurting. We really worked hard. The entire staff
trim things.
The entire staff worked hard to find every last dollar to keep things as inexpensive as possible. Not that we weren't already doing that, but we got a little creative in a couple of places to meet an anticipated lower offertory. But that's not to say that for those who are giving, we can afford for you to not give. We still need that support. And thank you so much again for all those who continue to step up.
Absolutely.
Do you want to move on towards some of the other
let's talk about some of the
the
other ways we want to be thinking about some of the other ways that people give and to think to the future, because you recognize that in economically difficult times, and we are not through this in any way. I mean, we don't have a vaccine yet. We could be doing this time of instability for months to come, which is painful for all of us to even think about, but nonetheless, part of the mission, we're going to have to adjust to it. So to think about some of the ways that if I can't give now in the way that I would like to, what are some of the deferred ways that we can give, and other ways that we can be creative about sustaining the mission of Christ?
And that's a great question. There's a lot more ways, there's a lot more creative ways, like you say, to give than just dropping, a check in the Sunday basket or mailing it in, or even giving online. All great ways to give. But, we are immortal people, are we not, Father Gordon?
Absolutely.
At least on this earth for this time.
Yes, exactly. This is our time.
And so, someday we are going to have to take that final journey, and there is a great opportunity to consider the church and what it's done for you in life to be able to leave a gift for it as you part the earth. And we actually we've had a number of generous individuals, former parishioners over the years who have left bequests for us to help continue all manner of operating expenses, our school, tuition assistance, campus ministry.
Or endowments.
We have a number of endowments actually, that
quite a number of endowments.
That are there to help us weather these difficult times. Our Legacy Endowment for Catholic Spartans funds a significant amount of our campus ministry, and that has grown significantly over the years, in part through legacy gifts from individuals.
Absolutely.
And also, that's not even the only way to offer planned gifts.
No.
Sometimes the reality for most people, if you look at the way our income rises and falls and our net worth rises and falls throughout life, younger people like myself, like our cameraman Josh Hamilton, and anyone just out of college, we don't have a lot of resources. We have it worked, but a couple of years, you're not going to have a big nest egg, and you're not going to have a lot of income coming in to make large gifts. But one way you can develop those longer term gifts is develop a planned gift. And we have done things where if you're approaching retirement age and you want to set up, we don't have any of these yet, but it's absolutely available. I'd love to work with people. Charity lead annuity trusts and opportunities where you can take out an annuity for yourself. So most people do that in retirement, and then just leave the rest of it, if you do pass away early, to the church. Or you can even schedule that in later in the future. There's a lot of opportunities to offer planned gifts when you approach retirement age. Absolutely. That you can feel free to talk to us ahead of time, and we would love to help you work through and show you all the options. There's tax implications and things like that. I won't bore you all with those details, but I'd love to talk to you if you are interested in any of those opportunities. I do want to say something about our endowments, just to give everyone an opportunity to know which endowments we have currently. The Legacy Endowment for Catholic Spartans, like I said, is a beautiful endowment held down at the Capital Region Community Foundation. And it is a legacy foundation that will, in perpetuity, even if we were ever to fold, we're not going to fold. But if, a bomb drops on St. Thomas Aquinas and East Lansing, and East Lansing is wiped off the map by an atom bomb, this fund will still be there to fund campus ministry at MSU forever.
Forever.
And so we are, like I said, we are able to, support a significant amount of our campus ministry through that fund. That endowment also has a Father Jake sub-fund as well, in honor of all. How many years has Father Jake been doing campus ministry?
Of ministry for Father Jake.
I think he beat Al in terms of years served here, didn't he?
I'm sure he would probably, yes. Yeah, Al Weilbacher, who just retired after 43 years with the diocese and the church. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so those are two great ways for people to invest who have been touched by our campus ministry. If they want to leave a legacy gift or even just make a contribution, I can help iron out those details for you. We also have our tuition assistance fund.
Absolutely,
which
for our school.
Is huge. The coolest thing, my favorite part, bar none, of the pandemic and everything I've had to deal with the pandemic, is working with our tuition assistance families.
Yeah.
It's such a privilege to be able to have. I can't tell you how many families I talk to who are like, my husband got laid off, my wife got laid off, we can't even afford childcare right now, that all of these really, really difficult things. And again, young families, most of which don't have a massive nest egg to absorb all of this financial turmoil. And they're like, we love St. Thomas, we want to send our kids to the school, but I just don't know if we can afford it.
We never want the finances to get in the way of somebody having a Catholic education for their children.
Exactly. And so it's been just such a privilege to be able to work with our families and to help find the funding. That's all because of our tuition assistance fund, which we would love to continue to.
Absolutely. Wouldn't you love to continue those endowments for the school? It makes everything more self-sufficient and sustaining, and it just makes the ministry all the more vibrant when we don't have to worry about the numbers.
Yeah.
Or, the expenses. What a beautiful thing to open the doors and take everybody that we can fit in.
Yep. Oh, and a couple more things I want to mention. There's one fund that is very little known. It's the Music Ministry Fund, also held down at the Capital Region Community Foundation. And that is a fund designated to go towards music ministry. And as you know, we are very proud of it.
We have amazing music ministry. We're not able to sing like we would like to, given our choirs are somewhat on hold due to the pandemic, but we can't wait to get that back. So, but nonetheless, we will move beyond the pandemic, and we want to have beautiful music for ages to come.
Yeah, so if you've been a part of choir for years, or really love what we've been able to provide for as long as I've been here, that was the first thing I noticed when I came to St. John. I said, "Wow, this music is something."
The talent pool of a Division I university is a beautiful and holy good thing. Yeah.
Much better than my farm town parish with, there's more cows than people, and it was grandma, and
We all do what we can, but we are very blessed, and we want to be able to make sure that, we can retain those resources.
So that's, and the last one, which is my dream.
Yeah.
From the moment I started and, started learning about the financial needs of our institution and looking at how we run this whole operation, I asked the question, we don't have an operating expense fund for the school, just a fund, an endowment that we set up to, pay some interest funds, give us a little bit of residual income to help cover all of the expenses that running a Catholic school entails. Catholic schools, as you know, have always been a gift from a parish community to the community, because
tuition never covers all the expense. Never does. And if we can close that gap,
it would lift pressure off of everything and allow us to do so many other things with ministry in every other sector of the parish.
Exactly, yes, because then all that budget can go to even further enhancing our ministry to the neighborhood. And we are student ministry. We are East Lansing. We have an elementary school. We have a Division I, one of the largest universities in the world. We are student oriented. We want to be able to fund that to the glory.
What community do you know that has literally all the way from preschool through college level and beyond ministries? Yeah. Like, there's a lot of, some of our parishes there's lots that have parish schools, there's lots that have campus ministry. How many have all of that in one?
And what a gift to the world, because as we form that generation, they go out and they are the movers and the shakers of. So this is no small thing to say, oh, well, we're just here to educate. No, you're educating the next generation of leaders and talent pool, and to bring the faith to the ends of the world as they go out into the world with all their gifts and talents. And so this is no small thing that we do here. This absolutely matters. And if we can make that more self-sufficient, and again, think of all the various ways. So I mean, again, plan gifts, stock options.
Yep, we can talk about that, and for those who are retiring as well. Yes. I want to share a little bit of technical information for those who might not be in the know.
Distributions.
Yes, qualified charitable distributions. If you're over 70 and a half, some of you might be aware that you previously were required to make what's called a required minimum distribution. The government doesn't allow you to hold your retirement funds in perpetuity if it's in a retirement account.
They want you to take it.
They want you to take it out.
And then they're going to tax you on it.
Exactly. But one of the ways you can avoid those taxes is by making a qualified charitable distribution. And the law changed at the end of December this year with the Secure Act. So your financial advisors might mention this to you. The RMD age, the required minimum distribution age, went from 70 and a half up to 72. So you don't have to draw out of your retirement until you're 72 now. However, they put a specific stipulation in. If you would like to support a charity, you can still start making those qualified charitable distributions at 70 and a half.
Which, if you want to change your entire tax, what a great way to, again, lower your taxable income.
And I would be more than happy to help, talk with anyone who's interested in talking about those very specific tax implications and things like that. I'd love to share some information. We could go over those. But I just wanted to make it aware, because that's a change for some of our retirees, that they're hearing a lot of different information. I just wanted to make sure they're aware. You can still make charitable distributions even though your RMDH has gone up. Yeah. So. Stocks. We have lots of stock.
The market is good, despite all the instability in the world around us. The stock market is doing really well. Yes.
So if you have any, stocks that you need to offload at all, and you'd like to give them to a charity, we'd be more than happy to help you through it as well. So again, reach out to me. Anyone who has questions about that. Those are a lot of technical things, though. So I won't bore everyone.
This is why we're introducing Josh by face. That you have the comfort. He's there to help. Again, that we can make our impact on the ministry and mission of Christ, and to do so long after we are gone. Especially as we think about some of our trusts and endowments, this will be functional until Jesus literally returns. Let's say a little bit more about bequests, because again, I think about just with our financial instability in our seniors, and we don't know how much care we're going to need, how much that is going to cost us. We don't know how long we're going to live. And so you're right, sometimes we can't give in a tithing sense in the way we would like to, but with the bequest, absolutely. Once we've lived our full life and taken care of our responsibilities and our spouses and our families and all those who are our dependents, after that, out of what is left over in our corpus, that we can look at a way of benefiting all the things that we really truly cared about, and we do get a couple of those each year.
We usually get we average probably 1 to 2 bequests annually. We've seen up to about 5 a couple of years.
It's a high year.
It's a really high year.
But considering in our neighborhood,
we have well over 50 funerals a year.
We have well over 50 funerals a year, and if everybody thought about leaving even just a couple percent.
Well, and that's
would
the
make
thing.
a world of difference.
I've had some conversations, with a number of individuals, and the problem is, I don't think most people who don't give bequests, it's because they wouldn't necessarily think about it. I think it's because most people just don't think about it until it's too late. If you haven't thought about it until you're in the next life,
it involves lawyers. It involves a little work. You kind of have to get ahead of it.
You'd be surprised. It's a little bit less work than you'd expect. As long as you've got a will set up.
Okay.
In which I would encourage most people, think about what's going to happen when you pass away, because you can make it really easy for those you leave behind, or a nightmare. As someone who went through the passing of his father a number of years ago, I was very grateful that my parents took seriously the reality that he was not going to be with us for very long.
At some point, we're going to go home to Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I would say, one of the nice things, I've talked to a couple of people who I've even worked with. A couple of the bequests we've received even since I've been here were essentially a tithe. They said, I've tithed all my life. I want to tithe for this is my last chance to tithe and give back to the church. And the great thing about bequests too is you can tailor. It's almost tailor-made. You can decide where do you want those funds to go to.
Yes.
Sometimes we get funds that they just say, I've done so. This community has done so much for me over the years. We just want to give back to the community where it's needed most and let them decide. Sometimes we have people who are super passionate about campus ministry, and they're like, we want to fund. We have a large estate, as you know. We've been talking about the outreach mass that continues to help fund our outreach mass.
The reason the outreach mass has been on is bequests.
Yeah.
It does not pay for itself otherwise due to annual donations. Maybe annual donations contribute to maybe 20% of the operational budget, considering the camera crew and all the processing and all what it takes. We still have to pay for airtime to even get it out there to Michigan. We have to pay to even show our own product. So absolutely. But bequests have kept that on the air for 35 years.
Yeah. So anyone who hasn't thought about that, please, I'd love to sit down with you. We're hoping to have. I actually talked to a number of individuals who deal with elder law and things like that. We were hoping to do some seminars this fall. I don't think that's going to happen.
But we can do it in person.
But again, I'd be more than happy to take your call and talk about all of those issues and ways that you can continue to give, even when you're celebrating with Jesus up in heaven.
Even long after you're gone. This is your stake. This is my parish. This is our parish. This is your parish, and this is your opportunity to influence the mission for the better and to touch future generations and future generations of students in this neighborhood for literally for years and years to come until Jesus returns.
Yeah.
So thank you for your investment within that.